and welcome to the Ray Gun Project. My name is Andrew, and today, we're gonna kill some zombies.
I need more ammo or we're going down! I need to find some lead or I'm gonna get barred here! Hey, player! Drop the chips and get me some ammo!